y'all, it's me Alex. Today I'm super excited because I am doing a duping the vibes of the new Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette, and this is a collaboration with my lovely friend Emily Han here on YouTube, and also Sincerely Alex Makeup will be joining us with an Instagram post, so I will be linking both of those beautiful human beings in the description box down below. So if you have been following Trend Mood, Urban Decay has recently released a naked palette in the Ultraviolet collection, which basically means it's like half peachy, half purpley, and now I consider myself a connoisseur of purple eyeshadows. I really wanted to just go through my collection and find some purple eyeshadows that I think would fit the bill in terms of duping the vibes of that palette. I'm still kind of interested in the Urban Decay version itself, mostly because I've heard that the naked palettes have like severely improved since they did like the Naked Heat and the Naked Honey, and if this one is of a similar formula, I might still actually be interested because I haven't bought an Urban Decay palette in like at least 3 years. So if this is something that really brings me back to the brand, that might be super great because I am really excited that they did some purples, but I haven't been a huge fan of their shadow quality in a while. I have obviously been loving more indie brands and things of that nature. Granted, a lot of the palettes that I'm using are actually from some more mainstream brands, which you will see once I really get into the swatches, but I really just wanted to dupe the vibes of it, and I created this look using that, which you'll also see in this video. I would have done more except for the fact that I'm going grocery shopping after this, and I wanted my eyes to look really good, and I didn't want to do like 2 different eye looks because that would be weird. So anyway, I think that is enough of the introduction. So I'm going to take y'all down to my dining room table where I'm going to be swatching all of the shadows that are going to dupe the vibes. Okay, so here we are at my dining room table. I'm trying to do swatches this way, that way I don't have to like awkwardly do things in the video. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to actually effectively dupe all of the shades perfectly, so basically what I'm going for is more just like some peachy neutrals and some purples. So I have all of these palettes that I figure would probably do the best job of duping it. So here we go. So I always like using my ColourPop X's and O's to dupe any sort of like warm-ish neutrals. There aren't a whole lot in the Urban Decay Naked palette that I think particularly go with this, but I think this would be good for some shades like Issues and Sidetracked, which I think would pretty easily mimic the transition-y type shades that they have put in the Urban Decay palette. So let me see. Or I think maybe more Issues and Hooky. Hooky might be a little bit too dark, but I can't, honestly, Fortunate and Hooky, depending on the light that you use, those could basically end up being the same shade. So I think maybe Fortunate. Fortunate's looking a little bit lighter on camera, so I might use that. It also looks as though there is like a light inner corner highlight, which I think No Better would pretty easily do it. I mean, as you'll know from my Pat McGrath video, I use that one a lot too, so I think if I use No Better, Issues, and Fortunate, that would do a pretty decent job of duping some of the shades. And I don't have any primer or anything on my arm right now, so we're just gonna go in and hope for the best. Okay, yeah, so Fortunate is definitely a little bit darker than what you might see in the Urban Decay thing, but honestly I think that one of the problems that I have with a lot of Urban Decay palettes is that they really just like don't give you a lot of darker neutrals, which I really like. I mean, a lot of darker mattes. So that is something that I often struggle with, but I do have an alternative to the darker peachy matte because I do have the Urban Decay Naked 3, which is definitely more rosy than peachy, but I think if you go for Limit, which is a little bit lighter, that could also maybe do it, except it can't because you can't barely fucking see it. Let me see if maybe Nooner might do something as well. I have my doubts just because this palette is old and it's definitely okay, I think that could also do a good job for one of the more neutrally transition shades that they offer there. So I think this kind of is a good start to the peachy neutrals. I also did want to include from the ABH and Jackie Aina palette that they do have the shade Zam, which I think also really falls into the glittery metallic peachy neutrals that the Ultraviolet palette has. So I want to add that kind of into the mix as well, which I think is absolutely gorgeous and is probably going to be more foiled and metallic than whatever Urban Decay is putting out. Honestly, a lot of the peachy neutrals just end up looking a little bit of the same, but I'm also going to include this shade from my Too Faced, what is it, Razzle Dazzle Berry eyeshadow palette. I never use this, but it's actually really good. I'm not a huge Too Faced fan, but honestly this palette is pretty great because I know they have like 2 shades in the peachy metallic range, so I think this has a good range of the more neutral shades in the palette. Also, this palette is smelling very strongly of berries thanks to everything that Too Faced ever does. Now, let's move on to the more interesting shades because that's what y'all are actually here for. So the next shade is more of a white, like, topper shade, and I decided to go in with my KVD Vegan Beauty Alchemist palette, and I think it depends on the light as to whether that one leans a little bit more blue or green, but for the sake of trying to pick one, I'm going to just go in with Sapphire here because I think, well, this is probably going to be a little bit more chalky than what Urban Decay is doing, but this mimics it pretty well, which it looks like that. And then we're going to go in with the purple shades, which is truly what this video is all about. And the best one that I want to include is from the Menagerie Violet ink. And I think I could get a couple of different ones, but first let's focus on that more kind of lavendery shade. I think I'm going to go in with Jellyfish. You could use Jellyfish or Iron Grip, honestly. I think it's somewhere kind of in between those two, but since that one is a little bit more of a lighter matte, I'm going to focus on the fact that it is lighter rather than, like, I don't know of a way to describe it. Those are very just different tones. So Jellyfish it is for me. And honestly, isn't that just like so much better than what Urban Decay is doing? Anyway, I'm a little salty just because I've had really good experiences with other purples. But now I'm thinking for some of the other purple shades, I'm basically, so I have the Vice 4 palette, which has like some pinks and purples, which I think will go pretty well. I also have the Too Faced palette, and I have the Menagerie Violet ink. So I think for the more pinky purple, I'll use a shade 1985 from the Vice 4, because I think the Vice palettes actually have some pretty darn good shimmers. Like, this definitely requires a primer, and it also is old, but here we go. I think we're doing pretty good. Okay, and then we have about 4 more shades that we really need to get. Now, I'm really trying to see kind of the difference. I think the next one would really go well with Mimic from the Menagerie Violet ink. So here it is, that, like that. Yeah, that was a pretty good choice on my part. Woohoo, go me. All right. Okay, and the next 2 are a little bit, I think I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try Beat Down from the Vice 4 palette to, that's gonna be a little bit darker, I think, than that one, but you know, I'll do that one and this last shade from the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry. And I think between those 2 we'll really have kind of the difference between the last 2 shades. Well, the second to last 2. Okay. So those are looking like that, and then the only thing that's really left is, like, you know, the classic Urban Decay matte with a micro glitter type shade. So, like, I would honestly just want a more interesting shade. I do know, I do have my Juvia's Place Festival palette because that has a black shimmer in it, but I'm not particularly inclined to use that since it isn't quite as purpley toned as what you see in the Urban Decay palette. Yeah, this shade from the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry palette, I don't know if you can really tell too much on camera, but it does have like some purpley blue micro glitter. I also don't know if you can tell from the noise, but my neighbor's dogs are just really going at it. So let me put, there we go. Now you can see the swatches. That's cool. So I think I have the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette here. So now that I have done the swatches, I will just let y'all, I'll let y'all see the look that I come up with, because I would also like to see the look that I come up with because I haven't done that yet. Okay, so it's tutorial time now. I'm sweating my ass off in my room. Okay, so for my transition shade, I really just want to focus on the purples in this palette. I'm going to use the shade Jellyfish from the Menagerie Violet Ink palette, and that's my transition. I also did not properly clean off my brush, so I'm a professional, guys. Now, what other shades did I pick out anyway? I suck. I'm thinking I want to do something maybe just like a little bit smoky, and I want to kind of go into as many palettes as possible. So I'm between the Urban Decay Vice 4 and the little Too Faced palette, but I think I'll start with this purple here, which is called That's My Jam from the Vice 4, and I'll put that towards the outer portion. Well, not quite the outer portion, but like the middle part of my eyes. God, this smells so strong. Didn't mean for it to go that far over, but gotta accept myself for who I am. And this is actually a pretty soft shadow that is decently easy to blend. Like I said, not someone who buys from Too Faced too terribly much anymore because of everything they've ever done, but this is a surprisingly good purple palette from them. And then I'm going to go in with the shade 1985 from the Vice palette, and I'm going to use that towards the inner portion of my eyes. I don't know how good this look is actually going to turn out, but and then I'm just going to try and blend that into my crease as much as possible. I think this is one of the problems I have with a lot of Urban Decay palettes, just kind of in general, is that they're really not the greatest when it comes to having an abundance of darker matte shades. So now I am going to go in with Beat Down from the Vice 4, and I'll kind of try and blend that into my outer portion of my eyes. It's definitely a shimmer, but we're gonna just break a whole lot of makeup rules here today because Urban Decay does not give us adequate tools to really perform makeup properly. I sound like fucking Judith Butler. And I'm gonna just try and blend that into the crease, just like a wee bit there. Might not work, might not look super great. I think I'm gonna use a little bit more of that on the outer portion of my lower lash line. And I kind of want to go back and pack on a little bit more of 1985, just to kind of make it pop just a wee bit more. And I think I'm going to use 1985 on the inner portion of my lower lash line, that way it kind of matches with the top. Honestly, I think I want to do a whole like throwback 3 looks with the Vice 4 palette because it's pretty good. And then for my inner corner highlight, I'm actually going to go in with Zam from the ABH and Jackie Aina palette, just because I feel like doing like a blue inner corner would be too much, and I really wanted to focus on the more pinky tones of the purple that I used there, so that way I think I use more of, honestly, words, non-existent, but this look, fantastic actually. Okay, so now this eye look is basically finished, so I'm going to go in with mascara and do the rest of my face, and I will be back for the outro. Okay, so that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to go check out Emily Hanhan's video as well as Sincerely Alex Makeup's post. I am very excited to see what both of those lovely human beings come up with. And if you like this video, thank you so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you are here from Emily's channel or from Alex's Instagram, hello. I should have greeted y'all at the beginning of this video, but I'm not going to refilm it because I'm really tired and my room is toasting me as we speak. But yeah, so where was I in the... I thanked y'all for watching. I told y'all to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye!